Buongiorno, sono lieto di darvi il benvenuto a Sant'Egidio. Grazie a tutti voi per essere presenti, a tutti i giornalisti che hanno voluto essere qui oggi con noi. Ringrazio in primo luogo l'onorevole Benjamin Marial, qui alla mia destra, delegato del Governo della Repubblica del Sud Sudan ai dialoghi di Roma, e ringrazio il generale Thomas Cirillo Suaka, leader del South Sudan Movement Opposition Alliance. Grazie per la vostra presenza. L'incontro che si è appena concluso a Roma ha visto la partecipazione di una delegazione del Governo di unità nazionale, composto dai diversi partiti che ora ne fanno parte e che hanno firmato l'accordo di pace del 2018, e ha visto anche la partecipazione della delegazione del South Sudan Movement Opposition Alliance. Questi incontri sono stati possibili e hanno significato la ripresa del negoziato cominciato a Roma a gennaio e a febbraio del 2020. Durante questi due incontri di gennaio e febbraio le due delegazioni avevano raggiunto attraverso la Rome Declaration e la Rome Resolution degli accordi politici e sul cessate il fuoco. Oggi, dopo la lunga pausa della pandemia, è stato possibile ricostruire la fiducia fra le parti, perché la pandemia ha voluto dire non solo l'interruzione dell'iniziativa di Sant'Egidio per la riconciliazione in Sud Sudan, ma ha significato purtroppo anche la ripresa degli scontri sul terreno, specialmente in Equatoria, dove sono avvenute diverse violazioni del cessate il fuoco. Gli incontri di Roma hanno avuto un risultato molto importante. Primo, perché hanno riacceso la speranza. L'hanno riaccesa in Sud Sudan, dove questo incontro di Roma ha avuto un eco molto molto grande. L'hanno riaccesa la speranza anche nei paesi della regione limitrofi, perché anche lì la notizia della ripresa dei dialoghi di Roma è stata accolta con grandissima speranza. Hanno riacceso la speranza e vorrei dirvi che a questo incontro di Roma hanno partecipato moltissimi rappresentanti della comunità internazionale. Li vorrei citare. Hanno partecipato l'inviato speciale dell'IGAD, l'ambasciatore Ismail Weiss. L'IGAD è un'organizzazione regionale che è impegnata in prima persona negli accordi di pace. Ha partecipato l'inviato speciale degli Stati Uniti per il Sud Sudan, l'ambasciatore Symington. Ha partecipato l'inviato speciale dell'Inghilterra, Robert Fairweather. Hanno partecipato inviati delle Nazioni Unite, sia della missione di pace in Sud Sudan, sia da New York. Hanno partecipato inviati dell'Unione Europea, della Norvegia, del Kenya, dell'Etiopia, del Sudan, della Francia, della Germania, della Svizzera, del Giappone, della Santa Sede e dell'Italia, per dire come veramente questo incontro ha riacceso la speranza per far tacere le armi in Sud Sudan. Quali sono i risultati di questo incontro? Sono stati l'impegno delle parti al cessate il fuoco e soprattutto aver deciso di organizzare un incontro fra i comandanti militari delle due parti per far sì che l'opposizione venga inclusa nel meccanismo per il monitoraggio delle violazioni del cessate il fuoco. Cioè fare in modo che i militari si parlino e che rispettino in prima persona il cessate il fuoco. E poi è stata decisa a Roma attraverso una dichiarazione di principi, è stato deciso a Roma il prossimo incontro politico, non solo in termini di date, infatti il prossimo incontro politico avverrà alla fine di novembre, ma sono stati decisi anche i temi sui quali le due delegazioni si confronteranno, che sono temi prettamente politici, dal federalismo alla Carta Costituzionale alla riforma del settore della sicurezza. Ecco, io penso così possiamo riassumere gli incontri di Roma, riaccendere la speranza in un processo che è stato interrotto dal coronavirus e dalle violazioni del cessate il fuoco e mettere le basi per far tacere definitivamente le armi in Sud Sudan. Io vi ringrazio e do volentieri la parola all'onorevole Barnaba Benjamin Marial a nome del Governo della Repubblica del Sud Sudan. Grazie.
Thank you, Dr. Paolo. First of all, I would like to express my profound gratitude to the community of Sant'Egidio, particularly Professor Mauro Ghiro, and also Secretary General Paolo Impagliazzo and Dr. Mauro Garofalo, and all their staff, including Reverend Fathers who have been with us throughout the talks. I appreciate and thank SOMA and the Leadership Council led by General Thomas Cirillo and the spokesperson, Ambassador Manuel Ajawin, and Dr. David Basuni, and the rest of their colleagues. I would like to inform the people of South Sudan that the Sant'Egidio community and international community that the revitalized government of national unity, together with the South Sudan opposition alliance, SOMA, have concluded third round of peace talks with the initialing of the commitment to the cessation of hostilities agreement, COHA, of 2017, that will ensure inclusion of SOMA membership into CTSAM-VM mechanism. That's a great milestone for this meeting. The CTSAM-VM mechanism for monitoring and verification commits the parties to COHA and deliver reports with regards to any violations during operations. The parties have agreed to attend a workshop in November 2020 on training the officers and personnel in how to conduct their responsibilities with transparency in their reports. These are SOMA officers who will be absorbed together with the CTSAM-VM. Now, the talks have successfully resulted in a positive manner by initialing the declaration of principles, which shall serve as the basis for further negotiations. The next round of talks is scheduled to take place on the 30th of November 2020, as told to us by Dr. Paolo. We in the revitalized Transitional Government of National Unity delegation and the representative of the parties that signed the revitalized agreement on the resolution of conflict in South Sudan and form the Artigono of National Unity greatly and strongly, I repeat, greatly and strongly appreciate the steps taken in the latest round of talks. We appeal to SOMA strongly to maintain the momentum of dialogue and agreement. This will build trust and confidence among all of us as we sit here together with General Thomas Cirillo. Our common interest, that is the transitional government of the Republic of South Sudan and the South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance, is common interest is the well-being of our people, their stability and peace. This is why we are meeting all the time as a government responsibility, so that we can find a solution to the suffering of our people. We therefore reassure the people of South Sudan of our unwavering commitment to peace and to ensure that all the groups join in the peace process in the country. Dialogue should and must be the only way to resolve differences, if any, in our country. It's through dialogue and peace talks, which is very important. The leadership and the government of the Republic of South Sudan will go all the way to listen and dialogue with all those opposition parties that have not signed the peace agreement. This is a fundamental policy encouraged by His Excellency, President Salva Kiir Mayardit, in order to have peace throughout our country. This will bring stability, development, and services to our people. In that spirit, the RT Gono, that is the government, will adhere to the policies of the African Union based on its Agenda 2063 that requires silencing of guns by 2020. We are actually left with 2 months so that this requirement by the African Union that the guns must be silent on our whole continent. So for us in South Sudan, we are left for 2 months to do that. And so these talks between us, SOMA, and the government is to achieve that and bring peace about so that the suffering of our people can stop. Therefore, we must silence the guns once and for all. And I share this with my brother, General Thomas. It's a very important step forward for peace and especially for our people. The government delegation has resolved and decided to attend the next round of peace talks with SOMA with an open mind, in a spirit of give and take, cooperation, forgiveness, resulting in a win-win for all the parties. We have come to Rome with an open mind and a spirit of forgiveness and cooperation so that we can reach a deal in order to bring peace to our people. We are reminded by His Holiness, the Pope Francis, with his love for the people of South Sudan. And Pope Francis said this, telling us, SOMA and the government, concentrate on those that unite you than those that divide you. I think this is a very important statement by His Holiness the Pope, and I think it is a great thing for us today. We are in this wonderful place of peace. This is the best place of peace in the city of Rome. That goes back to 600 years ago, and therefore His Holiness also stressed the fact that this should be done in a spirit of cooperation and forgiveness. And Dr. Paulo, I think this is a great message to all of us, to SOMA and to the government and to our people in the country who are suffering a lot because of this conflict. Finally, one must say and appreciate the mediation of Sant'Egidio in a spirit of love and professionalism. Sant'Egidio leadership as a whole has been neutral in their approach to bring us together without complaint on our part, and there's no complaint on the side of SOMA, I must say. They have been fair. They have tried all their best to bring us close together in order to channel us through the road to peace. And we thank you very much, Dr. Paulo, and the people of South Sudan have love for what you are doing in order to bring peace in our country. I would like to thank certain organizations that are also helping us to have peace. The African Union, IGAD, regional and international partners, Troika, this is UK, United States, and Norway. They formed these 3 alliances to help in the peace process in South Sudan. Also, the United Nations mission in South Sudan. We have United Nations troops who are keeping peace in South Sudan. We have the Regional Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission, which is GEMEC, or RGEMEC. We also thank the European nations through the European Union, who have been also helping the Republic of South Sudan in the areas of peace, in the areas of humanitarian assistance and development. We are extremely also thankful to Switzerland, because Switzerland has been putting up resources in order for the absorption of SOMA officers into the training where they will be a part of CTGMAC, so that they can, CTSAM as we call it, so that they can be trained and be ready to participate in the area of violations and monitoring of the operations in the field. And on the part of my president and the government of the Republic of South Sudan, we thank both Switzerland as well as the government of Italy. We were able to see the foreign minister of Italy. Yesterday, we had a long conversation, and we are very thankful to the Italian government for their concern for peace in our country, and the fact that they will be able to help when there is peace. They can help in education as well as in areas of humanitarian assistance. And already we have received humanitarian assistance from the Italian government, which has been delivered in South Sudan. So we thank the people of Italy and our government, and particularly Sant'Egidio, and all the non-governmental organizations from this country that are now helping the Republic of South Sudan. We also thank the United Nations agencies, in addition to the United States Special Envoy and UK Special Envoy, who attended our last negotiations. We thank them for coming, and countries like China, Japan, Egypt, South Africa, Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, Sudan, and Ethiopia for their tremendous support in helping us to reach peace in our country. We also appreciate the role of peacekeeping forces of the United Nations. Thank you very much, Dr. Paulo and your colleagues. I would be happy to see you in our next meeting, which you are organizing. I can tell you now, we will be coming. There will be no problem on our part. May God bless you, and may God bless South Sudan. And I thank the members of the press for paying attention. Our request is inform yourself directly about South Sudan, because these days there are a lot of problems in the social media. The journalists have a tendency now, they don't want to travel to Africa anymore. They want to see the social pressure, press. And that's why President Trump was coining a new word. They call it fake news, isn't it? So I hope you hear from the horse's mouth, and you are welcome. When you are visiting South Sudan, please let us know, and we will welcome you so that you see with your own eyes of what is happening in our country. But we thank you for being concerned of what is happening in the Republic of South Sudan. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Barnaba. I think you said something very important. First of all, we have to all follow Pope Francis when he suggested to the leader of South Sudan, seek what unite and overcome what divides you. And I think that it is a win-win for all of you, for all parties, to follow Pope Francis' suggestion. Thank you very much for your word, and pass our regard to President Salva Kiir. I will now give the floor to General Thomas Cirillo Swaga, leader of the South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Secretary General of the Community of Sant'Egidio, Mr. Paulo, my colleague, Dr. Barnaba, leader of the government delegation to the peace process in Rome, members of the press present. Good afternoon to all of you. In the first place, let me thank the leadership of the community of Sant'Egidio for committing themselves to this great organization to support and facilitate the South Sudanese parties, be that the government and the opposition, to dialogue among themselves in order for them to achieve a sustainable peace in South Sudan. So we thank you greatly for that. Would like also to inform and assure the people of South Sudan at this juncture that the opposition movement alliance that is formed from NAS, NDM, SSNMC, and UDRAM are really committed to dialogue with the government in order for us to find a better way to address the root causes of the conflict in the country, for us to bring a lasting peace to our people who has been suffering throughout their history. So we assure everybody in the international community, the region, that the opposition are really committed. And this is why we came to attend this round of talks in Rome that started on the 12th. During the negotiation with the government delegation, the discussion was very fruitful, was very objective, and we managed, with the support of the mediators, we managed to recommit ourselves to cessation of hostilities agreement, because we believe that unless we create an environment in order for us to really dialogue and at the same time allow the humanitarian agencies, be that international or local agencies, to reach our people who are displaced, who are scattered throughout the country, who are really in a dire need for any support, to reach them, then the hope of the people for peace is not going to be there. So this is why we decided that we must really commit ourselves, since we are outside here for the people of South Sudan, and we assume that the government also too is there for the people of South Sudan. We need to really cease hostilities among ourselves, to create this environment in order for us really to sit down and dialogue among ourselves to find a better solution to the crisis in South Sudan. And the commitment of the two parties, the government and the opposition, to COHA, for us is very critical, is very important, and this has given hope to our people that the two parties are really committed, and that means they will continue with the process in Rome until they achieve what the people of South Sudan want. Again, during this process, during the talks, we also discuss the political declaration of principles, which we believe are going to guide us when we come now to discuss about the root causes of the conflict. And indeed, we managed also to agree on important points that are going to guide us during the talks, and we initial them together with the commitment of COHA document, pending for us, the rest of the points, for us to come back again on the 30th of November to continue the dialogue until we really do something good to our people. So this is exactly what transpired during this round of talks, and we believe that it is a milestone for all of us as South Sudanese at this time to recommit ourselves to the cessation of hostilities agreement, and also to those points of declaration of principles that we are going to conclude when we come back again to Rome on the 30th. This is really a milestone to this process. This is for the first time that we started now to touch and discuss some of the political issues that all of us are really willing to resolve. Finally, I would like to thank all the partners for the peace in South Sudan who came to attend this round of talks, be that the IGAD represented by Ismail Wais, the Troika, the European Union, and other partners who are really concerned about the crisis in South Sudan. We thank them very much for attending this round, and they supported us. They also guided us through until the end of the 4 days. So we really thank them very much for that. Again, I would like to reiterate our profound thanks to the leadership of community of Sant'Egidio for their commitment, which they have shown it throughout this process. They really guided us. They stood very firm for the South Sudanese to achieve something in this round. And this is why we committed ourselves for the COHA. That was because of their support. And at the same time, we initialed important points of the declaration of political declarations of principles. And I think, as I stated, these are important milestones going to launch us in the next round now to discuss the root causes of the conflict. And this is my short remarks about this press conference. And we assure our people that together we'll be able to achieve a sustainable peace in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General Thomas. I think that the parties are committed to dialogue, and I can say that Sant'Egidio is committed to mediate and to support and to facilitate this political dialogue between you, and we will remain committed to facilitate, in any case, a peaceful solution for South Sudan. Thank you very much. Se ci sono... I will go in Italian. Se ci sono delle domande, prego, potete avvicinarvi al microfono. Grazie.
Italiano, così facciamo onore ai nostri ospiti. What the declaration of principles is actually an outcome of these last dialogues you had here in Rome. First question. Second question. What were actually the main problems that you had? I mean, I know now it's an official occasion, you made your speech, but which were actually the main points, the main problems that you had to deal with during this last session of dialogues here in Rome? Thank you. Quello che ho chiesto semplicemente se la dichiarazione dei principi è stato un risultato di questo incontro ultimo e se era possibile anche ottenerla, se c'è già, oppure se è invece una cosa che si propongono di sviluppare nelle prossime settimane a questo punto, visto che il workshop inizia a novembre. E ho chiesto anche quali sono le difficoltà maggiori, al di là degli speech formali che hanno fatto qui, giustamente, che hanno incontrato nell'ultimo negoziato che sia tenuto qui. Grazie.
Grazie della domanda. Io do la parola al Governo e al Generale Thomas di rispondere brevemente a questa domanda. You can answer. Okay, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. The Declaration of Principles, we are having several issues to discuss, which we think are important principles, are important really pillars for the coming round of talks, which we are going to discuss about the root causes of the conflict. We talk about principle of the governance in the country, which all of us agree that South Sudan should be governed by the democratic federal system of governance that separate powers, political and resources, to the different levels of governance, which was very important for us, given our context as we talk at the moment in South Sudan. We also discuss issues pertaining to land ownership. Again, we also agreed on that. We also discuss about issues of how do we really establish a national security sector that represent all ethnic groups of South Sudan, because the aim behind establishing a national security sector that should be really trained professionally and to include all our communities in a democratic setup. You don't need a tribal army in the country, because the politicians, or maybe the generals, by the time they lose their positions in the government, they go back to their community forces and use them against the government to retain their positions. And through this kind of situation, we will not be able really to establish a democratic culture, a democratic government in the country, because all the time it will be toppled by this kind of behavior. So we want to separate the security sector from politics. And when we build the security sector that is really national in character, that includes everybody in the country in terms of communities, and we make them to be professional, to adhere to the democratic governance of the people of South Sudan. And this is what we really want, not the other way around. We talk about that, and also we talk about how do we really set up a hybrid code, a code that we want it to try the people who committed crimes in the country during this time of war. This is also important for healing in the country, for unity even of the people in the country. These are some of the issues that we discuss. We also discuss issues that pertain to the Constitution. How do we really come up with a national permanent constitution? We also discuss about that. And how do we make the people of South Sudan to own the constitution itself? And therefore, we discuss the process that can make the constitution to be of the people and owned by the people. We also discuss about that, which was also very crucial and important. Other points, of course, we did not really agree on some of the points. This is why we, because of time, we met these other points to be discussed in the coming round, just to be short. Thank you.
Volevo solo aggiungere, lo dico in italiano o in inglese come volete, che la dichiarazione di principi è stata negoziata durante questi giorni, così come un altro documento che riguarda la volontà di far tacere le armi, questi documenti contengono molti punti, generale Thomas ha fatto riferimento al libero accesso delle organizzazioni umanitarie ai civili, ma contengono anche l'immediato disarmo dei bambini soldati, dei civili, contiene la possibilità della ricostruzione dei villaggi che sono stati distrutti. Ci sono molti punti che sono stati discussi, siamo andati cioè nel dettaglio, per dire che questi due documenti sono documenti importanti perché al loro interno contengono tante voci sulle quali le due parti si sono accordate e che le impegnano immediatamente verso un traguardo, direi, positivo.
Perché non diffondere anche alla stampa?
Sì, lo chiederemo alle parti. Va bene.
Thank you very much, Dr. Paolo. I think General Thomas has really mentioned what we have been discussing and what we have been initialing. First of all, we both express our full commitment to cessation of hostilities and also to immediate implementation of absorption of SOMA soldiers and personnel into CTSAM. This is a monitoring group that will monitor the ceasefire in the field and also to guarantee the movement of relief food to all the areas of South Sudan. That's we recommitted ourselves, both SOMA and us. The things we discussed, as he said them, I agree with him. What we call the principles, the declaration of principles. These are actually, first, as he said, for us, a decentralized system of a democratic and federal system of government that we had both agreed. We also discussed issues of national identity, because our country has a lot of different ethnic groups. And this diversity, we discussed it to be useful for the people of our country. That's one of the things also which came up, issues which are connected with the national symbols, languages, and our colors, the history, the norms, and all that. We talked about that, which was very important. Even culture, cuisine, media, and shared diversity. These things have also, we talked about it. And then the drafting of the Constitution by the people themselves and by holding a constitutional conference so that all the stakeholders in our country, that is political parties, the chiefs, faith-based organizations, that is the church, leadership, civil society, women, youth, all these people will have to be involved in the constitutional. We agreed on that, which he said before. And also, the other thing was about the economic body that needs to be established in order, because we have some economic crisis now, and we both agreed that we need to have an economic proper management, especially during the period. The economic system which would be based on principles of sovereignty and debts and recommend solutions. That we will need to talk about in our next meeting. We also talked about the reforms of the public service reforms, whether it is security forces, whether it is civil service. These need reforms which will really put into consideration the diversity, like you have in Switzerland. Switzerland, there are Germans, Italians, and French. When I went to Brussels, I was told this is the French part, Italian part, and that type of thing. So maybe you have experienced more than us. And so with our diversity, we need to accommodate those things which will bring harmony and our national identity. And I think General Thomas mentioned it before. We also stress the importance of a hybrid court. As he said, that we need to talk to establish a hybrid court that will hold accountable those who have committed crimes in the country. I think that is healthy. We'll also need to establish a sort of a forum for reconciliation, forgiveness, like what happened in South Africa. We need that too, so that we bring our people. We agreed on that also. And also the land issue. Although our land is very big, we are only 12 million. But I think because we don't have proper law established in how that land be used, so citizens are just doing as they want. So we want that to be properly looked into, so that there are laws, Land Tenure Act, which are important. We also have to protect land for our communities, land for the private ownership, land for the state. But you need land, you need a good governance system, which should establish all this so that we don't have crisis. We have a lot of wildlife and cattle in our country, goats and all that. They move everywhere. There are some people who are agriculturally oriented. They grow their crops. Others do both agriculture and ownership of cattle. This needs to be properly studied so that we can control and avoid sensitivities among our citizens. The security sector, as he said, we may sometimes heavily loaded on one ethnic group and others are not represented. So we want a security sector which will accommodate everybody in the country, everybody to see himself or herself in the national army. That's why we are having cantonment sites now and mixing our troops, like when we agree with Soma, that armed groups in the field will have to be mixed with the government and trained together and select out of them a mixture of all. That is making the army a truly national army. Our army in the beginning was a guerrilla army, and it was voluntary. Nobody paid anybody. All those people who wanted to protect their country just went there. Some of them lost their lives because they wanted to liberate their country, which we have all achieved with our contribution. But now it is a time for a proper national army to be properly balanced, properly trained, so that they know they only fight for their country, not for their ethnic groups or the few people who may rebel. We also discussed the issue, the culture of democracy to be instilled in our people, so that they know you can resolve your differences by talking to each other by peaceful means, not by fighting each other. And then also the regional and international organizations, how they can be with us together. So I don't differ with what he said. Those are the things which are defined for our next meeting as the root causes for dialogue. So it will be a political dialogue. During this time, we have also managed to build trust and confidence among us. So because our common interest is our country and our people, really. So we are both concerned, and we can always talk about those in a forum that is a democratic, forum that is peaceful, and that's why we thank Sant'Egidio for the tremendous effort they are doing to bring our views closer together. So I think we have no problem. As you can see, Thomas is there, I'm here. We have, these are our people both, it's our country, and we are both entitled to talk about how good our country should come. So that is what we talked about, and that's what we agreed about, that next time when we meet, we will talk about these things. And I think Sant'Egidio will be waiting for your invitation. I hope there is no winter. Thank you.
30 novembre un po'. Sì, a Roma. Questo per quanto riguarda il prossimo appuntamento del dialogo politico. Mentre il 9 novembre avremo la riunione dei militari. Quello dal 9 al 12 novembre ci sarà il workshop a Roma, con un occhio sempre alle restrizioni che sono imposte dal coronavirus. Lo terrà la comunità di Sant'Egidio insieme a questo organismo che si chiama Citizen VM, che è l'organismo che è un organismo guidato dall'IGAD che coinvolge i militari di tutti i gruppi politici e che si occupa del monitoraggio delle violazioni del cessate il fuoco. È un punto fondamentale del nostro lavoro per dare garanzia della tenuta del cessate il fuoco.
I due documenti sono la dichiarazione di intenti e quello per la monitoraggio del cessate il fuoco.
Esattamente, in questi giorni sì. Se non ci sono altre domande, io ringrazio i giornalisti presenti, ringrazio il delegato del Governo e il delegato del Soma dei loro interventi. Volevo anche ringraziare in particolar modo il Governo italiano che ci ha consentito la realizzazione di questo incontro e che si è detto disponibile ad aiutare la realizzazione del prossimo incontro, perché sono persone che vengono da altri paesi, c'è bisogno dei visti, c'è bisogno di facilitare la loro presenza qui a Roma. Volevo anche dire che questo incontro si è svolto nel rispetto di tutte le normative che sono state, diciamo, le normative riguardanti, le restrizioni riguardanti il coronavirus. Tutti i partecipanti hanno osservato strettamente quelle che sono le prescrizioni, siamo molto soddisfatti anche dei risultati di questo incontro, anche perché abbiamo rispettato le regole che sono dettate dalle nostre leggi e tutto si è svolto in maniera molto tranquilla. Vi ringrazio e speriamo di vederci agli inizi di dicembre per portare altre buone notizie. Grazie mille.